Testing, testing. There we go. Okay. All right. Oh man, maybe that's like a little too loud. Let me know in the chat if that's too loud. Testing, testing. One, two. I don't have my normal microphone set up, so this microphone may be a little subpar. Got that yellow background. Ferd, good to see you. Good to be back as well. Man, the move was a long time. We were moving from California all the way to Massachusetts. And all right, let me lower it there. Uh, hopefully, hopefully that works there. Sorry guys, we're gonna go through a little stumbling portion here because now that I did my move, I'm in like a whole different thing and a whole different spot. So let me make sure that everything's going okay. But the move went good. Let's see. Is that what I'm trying to do? There we go. Okay. And let me make sure I have the chat open too. Oh man, sorry guys for the three of you watching. Bring it back up again. Okay. All right. Let me testing. One. Oh. One, two, three. Okay. Maybe that's it. Let me get this chat up. I can't see the chat right now, so give me 1 second while I set this up. But yeah, the move went well. I went from California to Massachusetts. It took like 4 days. So we left on Saturday afternoon, and we got here on Tuesday evening. So it was a whole thing, like it was a whole thing. Let me make sure I got the chat here open. I'm using Streamlabs, mostly Colin. That's what I'm using right now. There we go. Yeah, OBS is a little bit too much manual labor to set up the streams. Um, okay, still setting up. I just came back from like doing a big like grocery run. My apartment's empty. There's nothing here. I had to go to IKEA, the great Swedish furniture, buy some furniture. Let me get some light. You can see I'm sweating because I have stairs. Going up the stairs, bringing up the stuff. Oh man, let me bring my camera the right place. There we go. Okay. Ricardo, thank you for being here. Mostly Colin, Ferd, and Susan. Thank you everyone for being here. QS. We got Ricardo from all the way from Portugal. What time is it in Portugal right now? All right. You get those bananas at the groceries? Exactly. My bananas and my dolphins. Pick up dolphins at your local grocery store. I think it's a funny shirt because I don't know, why would you put bananas and dolphins together? But Evelyn, thank you for being here. QS all the way from Trinidad. Tell me the times, guys. What time is it? Right now, for me, it's 5:30 p.m. Oh my God, still setting up my camera here, guys. There we go. You can see my blow up mattress behind me. Still haven't got my stuff yet. Oh yeah, my Streamlabs says that you're spamming symbols, but I don't know. I think my Streamlabs is a little strict, Ricardo. So I have to. I have been meaning to go into that robot and tone it down because sometimes sometimes you want to spam some stuff. All right, we're still setting up, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. It's 10 p.m. over in Portugal, 5:38 for QS. So me and QS are in the same time zone. Tasmania, 7:30 a.m. Sunday. Look at us. We're all like in the future, the past, living together here in this like little stream. Um, yeah, I'm checking out my stream bot here. All right, let's. I think. All right, there we go. I think my stream bot should be a little less strict. Hopefully that. Hopefully I don't have to turn that on again. We got 9 of you here. We got Eric M at 4:40 p.m. in Mexico, I assume. That's what you mean by Mex. Very cool. Oh man. Oh man, I'm still, guys, still setting up. Let me just put on my screencast keys for you to see my keys. Put my monitor up at the right place. I am the Nexus Blender being, the center of all dimensions. The doorway. Okay. Hopefully my microphone's okay. All right, sorry guys. My wife was asking me some. So my stuff is all the way in 2 like U-Haul boxes being transported across country by 2 trucks. And we're just making sure it's gonna arrive here in one piece. They're basically like 2 big brown boxes. Okay. Would you approve the TVA timey-wimey stuff? All right. I am the guy that put those amazing effects on the form. Yes. Yes, Ricardo. I saw you. So yeah, so let me switch over to now that we got our intros out the way. This is my little intro screen. It should really say intro at the bottom over there so we can start this. So let's go into our concept and setup phase. And let's do I have no like transition? Hold on. Oh, that's why. Here we go. I think it transitioned. It's fine. All right, we're in concept and setup, guys. Today, I'm going off the cuff. There's no plans today. It's gonna be real casual. So, you know, ask some questions. What I am gonna do is this is gonna be kind of like a test run for a segment, right? That I want to be doing. It's maybe I'll call it like monkey see, monkey do, or maybe I take something that somebody posts and see if I can replicate it. So monkey see, you know, and then I'll monkey do it. QS Ricardo is talking about the form. I'm on Spitfire Storyboards Discord channel, and if you want to join that, let me put that in the chat for you right now. So for anybody who wants to join the Discord, this is where I usually hang out. It's Spitfire Storyboard. Check out his YouTube channel. It's pretty good. He covers a lot of like storyboarding, obviously through his name, but using Blender, and I think he also made I know he made an add-on that's useful. Anyway, that's his Discord. I don't like to manage my own Discord, so I'm very happy to ride off his coattails and not have to manage a Discord. He can manage that, and I'll just live there. I'll live under his roof rent free, and I'll keep inviting people over. Come over, come hang out. Anyway, so I want to do something called Monkey See, Monkey Do. I'll probably make some graphics for it, some new transitions and stuff. I'm gonna revamp this whole thing, but Ricardo who's in the chat right now, who's also named what is it? RB Figueroa? Figoria. Figoria. No problem, QS. So yeah, he posted, let's see if I can bring it up and then show everybody in the class what he wants to replicate. Once again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to replicate this right on the spot, but we're going to go through the troubleshooting steps together, and we can learn some Blender along the way. If you see something, just ask. I think it's better to, even if I don't make the thing at the end, it's good to learn how Blender works. So let's scroll up. I'm scrolling. Let me know if that music's too loud. All right, let's see if I can bring this up. Okay, here we go. So from, okay, let me bring it over. So from the Discord, uh, you can tell this is like totally off the cuff with all my ums and uhs and so yeah, let's see what we posted over here. Okay, so we got RB, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Is it Figueroa? Am I Figueria? Is like what I think it is. Figueira. 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 Anyway, all the way from Portugal. He posted on the Spitfire Storyboards Discord, and he posted on the Blender FX links. Ooh, that's really loud. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing that. Hold on. Very sorry, but thank you for joining. I totally missed who it was. Let me make sure that that noise doesn't shock us again, guys. It shocked me. I held it in, but it shocked me. Oh, okay. No, that alert box, only I can hear it. Okay, cool. Anyway, so we got here Ricardo. He says, "What about these animations? Some real-time FX in Blender." So, looking at this, we're gonna click on the link and we're gonna see what it is. I think there's some animations there. Let's see. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, so you guys can hear that. Oh man. I hope. Let me mute that. Okay. It's muted. We shouldn't have that noise again. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, Susan's like, "No, we hear it." Okay, very sorry. Once again, these are the hiccups I was talking about that we're going to be going through. Okay. All right. I think we're good with the noise. I don't think it's going to happen again. All right, guys, for the six of you here. So Ricardo says the author Mohammed is very good at Blender, and he looks very good at Blender. So let's see what these effects look like and see if we can get something close to it. We're gonna click on it, and we're gonna check out what it looks like. All right, so we got Mohammed Chahan. He looks like he's very good. And let's look at some of these effects. So what he's doing here, he has, I want to know if he's doing this in Unity or if it's in Blender, because it looks kind of like it's in Unity. Because there's a lot of particle like uh variation, like it getting really big and really small. I don't remember that happening in Blender. So we'll go one by one. We have this particle system that's getting out X's and like little I don't know, dust. It's kind of like a snow effect. We got the fire effect here, and this seems like a pretty straightforward one. A lot of spheres that are blurred with a couple hard ones there. Ricardo says it's all in Blender. All right, so um, I guess the reason I said Unity is because he says software uses Unity, and there's something about its look that looks like it's from Unity, but it's all Blender. So yeah, so we got mostly particle systems that are poking out and getting really big. What I'm catching here is when the particles get really big and then they bounce back down. That's the part where I haven't been in the Blender particle system in a while, but I don't remember there being an option for that size. I mean, there definitely can be. Then we got this electricity here. Also, again, these are all done from what it looks like with uh, images, like with particle system and then images where the images always face the camera. So we see here, these are the two that are used. A sphere that is orange and yellow, blurred the edges. This one uses four of them. Okay. This is uses the plus and the little star, which is cool. This uses some random lightning and then some swooshes here. And Ferdinand says that it looks like some geometry nodes voodoo, and I think you're right, Ferd. And I have yet to dive into geometry nodes. Does geometry nodes affect uh particles, or is it just geometry? Let's see if he says it here. Let's scroll through blah blah blah. All right, he doesn't really go into saying much about it. Yeah, it says here that I recently played with the nine parchments, and since I'm not the best effects, but I decided to do something quick and see if I can create a rough example of magical elements using simple particle systems and just a few simple sprites. So from his description here, he is using just a particle system and some simple sprites. Uh, but he very well could be using some nodes too. So yeah, I think he uses them as collections in particle systems. That's exactly what he does, from what I'm, from the way that I would do it. So let's start creating some of this, step by step, and I'm gonna use this as my example. I'm gonna use, are these the same picture? Um, yeah, I guess so. I'm not, first says I'm not entirely sure. It seems that there's a lot of overlap between the older established particle system and the newer geometry nodes. Yes, the particle system and all that's very much in flux. Okay. All right. I think I'm getting my bearings, guys. I think I'm understanding what we're doing here, Ricardo. And let's see if we can copy it. Monkey see, monkey do, right? So, I'm not gonna promise you I'm gonna create it perfectly, but we're gonna try it, right? We're gonna go together. We're gonna stumble together, you know? So I'm gonna use this as my reference, these images, right? So let's first set up our scene, right? We're gonna set up this this like cyc where it goes up and the background and the lighting. And let's see if I can see how the lighting is lit. So it looks like the lighting is top right. Looks like there's a soft light or a sunlight, and it's coming from the top right. It definitely has screen space reflections because if you see here, you can see that. Let's see if you can see it. You can see that it's reflecting the orbs to the left and the right of it. So it definitely has like some reflections, screen space reflections, or some accurate reflections is what I'm trying to say. And it looks like they're putting off light at the on the ground. So I don't know. In Eevee, mesh lights don't work. So I wonder if this is like a pseudo light, like there's a like a fake, like a lamp. They're called. They're called lights, I think, or lamps. But yeah, in Blender, they put them there. So let's create these orbs. It looks like he has two matte ones and three shiny ones, and then we're gonna create the background as well. So let's start with the background. This is a fun thing. This is one of the first things I learned, guys, with these backgrounds. I used to want to make those curved backgrounds all the time, right? So let's go in. I'm gonna erase everything. And for the camera, I'm gonna hit Alt G and Alt R, which kind of resets. It zeroes out the the camera. So if we go back, you see it, the locations in different places, rotations in different places. If you ever want to reset something, you reset it with Alt. So Alt R, Alt G. I'm gonna hit R to rotate on the X90, and we're gonna move it back. Also, for us to see what we're doing, let me create another window here. We're gonna create two windows. So for this one, there we go. And I'm gonna put it on rendered mode. Hold on a second. Wait, Alt G, Alt R. Okay, rotate X. Ricardo says he normally uses three lights. All right, then we'll try and do some three lights then. We'll move this back on the Y and we'll bring it up so we can see the ground there. All right, we're gonna get rid of all this extra stuff. So I don't want to see any of it. Okay, so let's make a plane. And that's how we'll start this. You could do this, by the way, any different way. So let's do a plane. Go to edit mode, make it pretty large. I want to see what we're doing here. So I'm going to set up a light. So let's do Shift A, add in a light. We're going to add in a sun. We're going to start off with one light first. And then we'll rotate the light at a 45-degree angle on the Y. So that we'll hit Y, hit 45. Great. Um, Is there not a built-in add-on for Blender for three-point lighting? I actually don't know, Ferd. I don't know. I thought there might have been some lighting stuff. If it has a silly name, here it is. Is it this? So I went into the preferences, lighting, try lighting. Add three-point lighting. Look at that. Ferd's on top of it. Let's see what that looks like. Let's not do it by hand. Let's see if we can save some space. So I turned on the add-on in Blender. I typed in light, and luckily it had a normal name. Sometimes they name this stuff like really silly and then it's hard to find. So boom, we got try lighting. Let's see what that looks like. Let's take away our light. Thank you, Ferd, for the recommendation. We'll hit Shift A. We'll do light and three-point lighting uh, is grayed out. Needs an existing active object. All right, so let's select the active object. Okay, so for some reason this add-on does not work if you don't have anything selected. So I found that out just by going to Shift A. I hovered over it, and you see it gives you a little note there. Needs an existing active object. Active objects are just objects that are selected. We selected it. Shift A, three-point lighting. There's our three-point lighting. Pretty interesting. Um, because this lighting is really weak. Can I not see this? Eric M says the photographer add-on. Does that come with Blender? Oh, that might be a separate add-on, right? All right, so let's do the light. Oh, great. So I'm gonna choose the light. It just needs to be a little stronger. We got our three-point lighting here, all pointing at the center. There we go. Oh man, this three-point lighting, easy setup. For now, I'm gonna add in some dynamic light, guys. Let's have fun. We're always working in these gray programs. They're gray. My bars are gray. My screens are gray. My life is gray. My sky is gray. Anyway, long-winded. Just add some color. Let's add some blue, my favorite stuff here. Let's add some pink, and for this one, maybe closer to the red. See, that already looks more interesting back here. right? Um, okay, great. So now I want to make that cyc. Let's bring up our example. See how it curves upwards? Let's make ours curve up. Oops, I turned off my music. Shame on me. Hold on, guys. I like my music. For anybody who wants to know where I'm getting the music, I'm using this website called play.pretzel.rocks. It's a lot of dots. They usually play music that is not going to get me copyright striked. And no vocals in it either. You need to create your own Blender UI theme based on your shirt. That's what I need. That's what the market's missing. My own theme. All right, we set up our lights, different colors, beautiful stuff. Before I turned off my music, I was looking at how to make this cyc here. It's called a cyc, right? Cyc. How do you even spell that, guys? Cyc background. Oh yeah, that's what it's called. Let me show you guys. So what that background is, right? What this background is, this curved background, I think of it as like a cyc, which is usually used in a studio, and it kind of like curves upwards, and it's so like it gives you that illusion of like infinity. In his example, he's using squares, so obviously you can tell it's not going to infinity, but this is what we're creating, and this is how we're going to create it. All right, so let's go into our plane. Let's go to edit mode. Hit 2, and 2 is just switching it to line mode here, edge mode, edge select. I select the edge, and then I'm just going to bring this up, and I'm going to be looking at the left side so it's covered, right? So I'm going to hit E to extrude it and hit Z, and it goes up. So I'm gonna give it some leeway here, right? All right, so I'm going to do this non-destructively. So the first way I'm going to do it is going to use a modifier. And the modifier I'm going to use is subdivide. Let's see. All right, so let's add in some subdivisions. You can see that there's like you can see how every side is like faceted. You can fix that by just hitting shade smooth. There we go. So now we have our cyc, and it is nice and round. Um, and that's one way of doing it, guys. So let me call this BG, and we'll call it 01. Right? And let's move this, and I move things by hitting M, go to new collection, and type in BG. Now it's in my backgrounds. And guys, have fun with some colors here. This is once again gray. You can change these boxes for different colors. So for the background, I'm going to put it green for fun. I'm having fun here, guys. Okay, so we have background BG01. What I'm actually going to do is actually do background.000. The reason I do that is when I hit what is it? Control D to duplicate it. Oh, Shift D. I'm sorry, Shift D duplicate it. Then it increments the number, so now it's called BG001. All right, so I'm incrementing it because I want to show you a different way to do this. So let's take away the modifier. If you didn't want to use the modifier version where you just hit the modifier, uh, and it turns into a what did Fern say? A giant Pringle. You could do it this way as well. This is a destructive way of doing it though. So if you choose this edge here right at the corner where both the wall and the floor meet, hit Control B. That's a bevel, right? You're doing like a bevel modifier, not a bevel modifier, excuse me, using the wrong terms here. We're beveling though. We're doing a bevel action. So you see it's moving up and down, and see you're creating the same effect. And if you want to create more ridges, just scroll up, and there you go. Scroll your ridges, and now we have the same thing, right? And obviously this one looks better and more to life because this one actually curves. The one that I did with the modifier curves it. with the modifier here. But a way to fix that, when you're using subdivision, if something is curving and you don't want it to curve, just add in an edge loop. To add in the edge loop, hit Control R. You see how it makes that yellow line? And you can bring it all the way to the edge there. And you can add in another one, bring it all the way to the edge. And now you basically have the same thing. This one's even cooler because you have rounded corners here, see? Look at that. Anyway, so that's basically how you make two different backgrounds. We'll keep them both. I am going to use the one that I made destructively for now. All right, so there we go. There's our psych, our background. We got our lights set up, which is looking pretty good. So another thing you should do is keep organized with your lights. So let's select all three lights. So I'm hitting Shift, selecting them all. By the way, thanks again for that add-on. That add-on worked. Easy. Anyway, select all the lights, hitting Shift, hit M, go to New Collection, and then call it. I usually call it like utilities, but I'm gonna call it light or lights, plural. There's multiple. Beautiful stuff. We got lights. Once again, color your collections. This one, I did the background green because I think of a green screen background. That's what I think about. And then for the lights, I'll make yellow because I think of the sun and yellow light. So there we go. We got our lights. We got our background. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, let's keep on moving. All right, so the next thing, we're going to look at our reference again. It's been too long since we've looked at it. All right, so you can definitely add in the checker background. I guess if you want that, people usually use checker backgrounds um, when I don't know they want to do a demonstration, but we could do a checkered background as well. And I'll show you how to do it. I may not keep it because I like the nice gradient look. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up another window. We're gonna start doing some materials here. So open up a second window by putting your mouse at the bottom left corner, right? And then dragging it up to make a second window. And then we're gonna go into the shader editor. I know it could be scary, guys, but we'll make it through. So I have my background selected, the one that I want, right? I'm gonna go to materials, which is this little orb, this little marble looking thing. And I'm gonna click on the material that exists here. And I'm gonna call it BG, and I'm gonna call it BG.001. I'm gonna match it with the name of the object itself. So if you have Node Wrangler on, make sure you have Node Wrangler on. I don't know if it comes turned on Blender, but just make sure Node Wrangler's on. Because an easy thing to do is to click on the Principled BSDF and hit Control T. This adds all the nodes you need for a texture, right? Um, And now that you have the texture, you have it mapped to the UVs, blah, 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 you can hit new texture, and this is gonna create a new image texture that's gonna add it to your geometry. So here it is, we click new. We're gonna call it once again BG.001, just so we know everything. Everything's named correctly. And it doesn't matter. 1024, is pretty good. Um, and But for fun, let's just do 2K. So we're gonna times it by two. So this is another thing to know. You can just do the math in the box there. So star two, boom, 2048. Star two, 2048. For the color, don't worry about the color. Take out the alpha and generated type. Do a color grid or a UV grid. I think the UV grid is what we want, and then hit OK. And now we got our grid here, which is not looking too hot. Not looking too hot. So just to fix that now, right? So let's look at what that looks like, guys. So on this second left window, I'm going to go into the UV panel because that's what this is we're dealing with here. We're dealing with UVs. And UVs are basically a fancy terms for X, Y, and where the image is placed onto the geometry. I don't want to get overly complicated. UVs tend to scare people off. So just know that you can um, just don't think too much about it. Eric M says you can make the texture with chest texture node. Interesting. So when you say chest texture node, do you actually mean the brick texture? Because that's a good idea, if that's what you mean. So to finish this thought process, let's look at this UV, and we're gonna pick the image that we're on, BG1, and we're gonna go to edit mode in the background here, and you can see that it is not correct, right? So let's see if you can see it here. So these polygons correspond with these polygons here on the screen. So something you could do is you can hit U and hit unwrap and see if that helps, and it does. So see how it unwraps it on the way that it thinks it's best. So all I did was I selected, went into edit mode by hitting edit, selected all by pressing A, press U, which I remember by UVs, right? And I hit unwrap. Boom, I unwrapped it, and there we got our checkered pattern. It has these little pluses on it. That's just something that comes with Blender. And then in the UV, you can make the squares bigger by just hitting S while it's all selected, and you can make the squares really small, or you can make them really big. So you can see I have my texture here pretty lined up like that, right? Okay, so that's one way of doing this. You can create a texture and add it into there. But Eric M made a great suggestion by saying that you can use the chest texture node, and I'm pretty sure I know what Eric means, right? So let's go to our other background. So that one's all done. All right, boom, boom, boom. And then we will go to our first one. Actually, no, let's not go to our first one. Let's make one more. Let's go to BG1. I'm gonna hit Shift D. I duplicated it. I'm gonna make the top invisible. Okay. Now we are gonna make another material. So let's make right now it has BG1, which it shares it with this object. So let's hit this little button here. It says new material. What it does is it duplicates it. So we'll duplicate it, and you can see it changed to .002, and it did it automatically because we named our stuff. Very important. Okay, so we got .002, right? Uh, Now let's take Eric M's excellent suggestion. Right, so let's erase that material that we created for the other one. So another way to do this is there's actually built-in textures into Blender. So if you hit Shift A, go to Input. Nope, sorry, obvious. Go to Texture, and then go to Brick Texture. All right, now connect the vector in here. Boom, and connect the color to the base color, and let's see what it does. And we got a brick texture. So it's not perfectly the way that it was working before. But let's see if we can fiddle with some settings here to make it work. So let's scale this down. All right. For the motor, we're going to make that size 0, right? So motor size 0, that 0. We're going to keep the bias as 0. And we're going to make the brick width and brick height the same. So let's do 0.250, 0.250. Okay. And the second color. Oh, the checker node. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Eric, you're so right. You're so right. What am I doing with myself? This is why I do this. This is what it's like, guys. This is what it's like using Blender. You confuse things for another. All right, there we go. This should be done, right? There it is. Eric coming in clutch. Thank you, Eric, so much. Round of applause for Eric. Yes, use the checker node and then you can choose the different colors that you want, which is great. You can change the scale. So let's make them black. Let's make them gray, really. All right, there we go. Beautiful. That's looking great. And then let's check one more thing here. It looks like the reflection is pretty matte, right? I see like there's like a stronger reflection here. I'm gonna put the roughness to the top, or should I take the specular off? Okay, we'll keep the specular and put the roughness all the way to 1. Okay, there we go. That looks closer to what it's supposed to look like. And Ricardo says, awesome. Yes. Eric is great suggestion, Eric. Okay, so let me read. I missed somebody's chat here. Mostly Colin. Okay, sorry if you've answered this, but do you earn a living using Blender in some way? I do. So I do a lot of visual effects for like live action movies and like short films and like trailers and stuff. And I use anytime I need 3D, anytime I need some sort of motion graphic, anytime I need uh you know to make something how do I say this? To put objects into like a VFX, like putting a monster in a scene or putting, a spaceship in a scene in the background and stuff. I use a mixture of Blender and After Effects. So I do use Blender a lot. That's Blender is my main 3D software that I use uh, because it's so fast to render when using Eevee. I could do a lot of you could do a lot of good work, like realistic work with Eevee if you know how to composite with After Effects or Nuke or whatever you composite with. And if you know color theory and all that stuff, you can use Eevee. Because I used to use Cycles and that would take forever. I would have like 10-minute per frames, 30 frames a second. That would take like insane. I used to buy out render farms just so I could render stuff. Waste of time, waste of money. There's definitely a lot of tricks to do this faster. Hopefully that answers your question. I do it in the grand scheme. I think in the long run, I would love for this to pay my living, being able to teach, being able to do my own animations, stuff like that. And I'm called Grease Monkey. I don't know if you know because I started because I'm trying to start really utilizing Grease Pencil and helping people learn or use or make it easier for people who are mostly animators and 2D animators to help them with their projects with whether with VF like effects, doing them in Blender or in 3D. That's why me and Spitfire kind of like work together because he does a lot of storyboard stuff and I can help him bring his storyboards, to the next level. Anyway, so we're doing great, guys. We're making great time. Like, when did I start doing this? Almost an hour ago, and it was most of that was chatting. So through Eric's suggestion, here we go. We got the material, we got the checkered. That's looking great. We can even make it more gray. If it's too gray, let's go back to our reference. On it, it doesn't look exactly like this, but it's good enough. You can definitely play around with the settings. I'm not gonna play around with these settings. Susan says you've helped me heaps, and I'm so glad. Makes me happy. I want everybody to use Blender. It's like my addiction. All right, so let's start now. Let's do these orbs, right? So for this collection, it's where the camera is at. I'm gonna put uh, utility because sometimes I put my empties in there. Utility if I use it. We'll keep that one white. GM is the gentle voice of Blender on YouTube. I try to be. I know how hard it can be to learn this stuff, And I know how frustrating it is, and I know how secretive some of the pros are. They're like, or they don't have time. I don't want to like blame anybody. Uh, Maybe they don't have time and they're not good teachers or something like that. So I definitely want to be the masked magician who reveals all the magical tricks. So let's do the orbs, guys. So the orbs um, are easy, super easy. Let Sometimes these lines bother me. You see how you see these lights have the lines that go through? To turn that one specifically off, if you go into the viewport overlay, which is this button at the top here, and you turn off extras, no, maybe not extras, relationship lines. Okay, that gets rid of blue lines. Okay, it is extras, right? So I'm just gonna turn off relationship lines and extras, just so I can see this better. Eric M, with the new render engine Cycles X, you don't need a GPU and is very fast. Yes. I can't wait to start really putting that into my projects and testing it out. All right, reference. We need 5 orbs, guys. 5 orbs, 5 different materials. Let's make each one. It looks like the first two are basically the same, that are just white matte with some specular. We got a really shiny one with like zero roughness and a glow. And then we have uh, this one that doesn't have a glow on the outside, right? But it has like an inner glow, so we'll do that as well. And this one has the same thing. So let's create those orbs. Let's start with the easy ones, right? The easy ones are these orbs that are just matte. So I'm gonna hit Shift C so I can center my 3D cursor. So when I hit Shift A, that's where they appear. So we could use two types of spheres, right? We can use the UV sphere and the icosphere, and there will be different reasons why you use, either or. For this particular case, I'm since there's no texture that's going on here, it's just gonna be normal orbs. I like using the icosphere. They're fun to look at for me. So we'll do icosphere. There's our icosphere. At the bottom left, you'll see. Let me bring some room here. At the bottom left, you're gonna see uh, the add icosphere, right? You click on that, you'll get your options, and we'll subdivide these. Let's subdivide it to 4. Um, I usually like to keep my verts down as much as possible, but for right now, we'll do 4. Oh no, we do 5. We'll just let fate decide. So I clicked out of it, and it's 5. So I right click, hit shade smooth. It's looking good. Beautiful stuff. Now I'm gonna raise it up right about here, and I'm gonna scale it down. But instead of hitting S, right, and scaling it down in the scale, usually I want this to be 1. I want the scale to be 1, right? And I'll tell you why. Um, so to keep this at 1, but make this smaller, go to edit mode, hit Shift A, and then hit S and scale it down. So now we're getting our orb, and now we have it at 1. And it's important because when this scale is all different ways, sometimes your modifiers won't work correctly. That's the short version of it. The short version is that you want to keep your scales at 1 because sometimes your modifiers don't work, your constraints act weird. There's a lot of things that can happen. Try to keep it at 1, and to keep it at 1, you just scale and rotate. You let's just say scale. You scale in edit mode, and that's how you do that, right? So there we go. We are scaled. So now I'm going to bring it down. And let's look at our reference again. It looks like those shadows are real harsh, right? So let's bring back our lights and see if we can get those harsh shadows. So here's our lights. Um, and we'll bring up the power. And Ferd says if you don't always apply your transforms, right? And what Ferd is saying in the chat right now is, so let's say your orb is like this large, right? And it's all three. You want this to always be one, but you don't want to go in and scale this down and figure out how to get this to right. And see, it's all messed up. You want the orb to be this size, but you want this to be one. When he says apply your transforms, if you hit Control A, you can apply things, right? So what it's saying is that this is the base scale, right? That's what that one means. It means like, no, this is one unit. This is one sphere, right? What this is saying is that it's three times as big as its normal size, right? So hit Shift A and hit Apply Scale, and you can see this turned to one. If you didn't see it, we'll go back. It's at three, basically telling me this is three times its normal size. We hit Control A, hit scale. Now, this is one unit, and this is its one size. For it says, I always got kicked from earlier Blender tutorials from not applying scale after doing transforms and objects. It's very important, guys. You'll notice it. You'll stumble on it. All right, so let's go back and see if we can mimic this lighting. Um, and to mimic the lighting, I want to see if so I'm gonna make the size of this right lamp 0. Because when you have a size 0, a point light essentially, right? The 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 shadows are harsher. So see the softness on it? See how much softer it gets? You can barely even see it. It's not even there anymore. So make sure it's boom, hard. All right? I'm just playing with some settings here. Okay. And let's bring this up higher. All right, there we go. We're making that harsh sign there. Eric says if you're going to use particles, curve modifiers, very recommended to apply scale. Good note. All right, so we got basically our harsh light. We're not gonna spend too much time on it. I think I spent too much time on it already. It's a lot darker. We can make it darker, and the way we make it darker is, you're like, I want it to be that shadow to be as dark, right, as this our reference. So, uh, the reason is because the background is gray, and it's actually emitting a gray light onto the object, right? It's called the world settings, right? Here it is. It's if you hover over it, world properties, right? So we'll click world properties, and we're just gonna make this color dark. There we go. And now we got super dark colors. Basically, the orb here is how it controls it. I mean the orb, excuse me. The scale here, the color of the world, and the world is the background, everything you see around here in gray, is actually illuminating it. Right now it's at a strength of 1. If we put it at strength of 0, that means there's no light coming in, right? So if I have it dark and I put it up to 100, it's dark. There's no light coming in. So let's make it not that harsh, just to mimic this. It's a little gray. So we'll bring up our vibrance very small, maybe dot zero 0.01, dot zero 0.02. All right. And then we can control it from here. There we go. All right. Cool. Let me save, guys. You guys should do that too. So if you haven't saved already, please do. We'll call this, magical effects. First says you can even mess with negative values for lights, and that one's pretty cool too. I'm not gonna get into it now, but your lights can actually take away light from the scene. Things you really can't do in the real world unless you have like a black hole or something. And I always leave my black holes in the garage, so. All right. So we have our orbs. Let's take away these lines because they always bother me. Great. So here's our orb. We need two, what is it? Two regular. And you see just to imitate it as much as possible. You see here, there's like that white sheen on it. Let's just make sure that's there. So we'll bring up our materials again. We will bring up the orb. The orb doesn't actually have a material, so we'll hit new material and we'll call it orb dot zero zero zero, right? And if we look at it here, we could put the roughness to something where we can see it like there. That's about what they have it right there. Make it look a little pretty. Beautiful, beautiful. And we're gonna call this orb dot zero 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 as well. And we're gonna move this orb into its own collection. Don't ever forget to do that. Orbs. And color your collections so you can have fun with your life. I'm gonna make them orange, purple. We're gonna make them purple. I'm messing around with sculpting with you as your background noise, and that joke sent me. I'm glad. I'm glad. Sometimes I think I'm not that funny, but I appreciate it. Inflating my ego, making me feel great, QS. Okay, so let's bring back our camera here. And you see my camera, the camera, if you select it, let's see if I select it. You see that it's grayed out on the outside of where the camera is. Sometimes I don't want to see anything from the outside. So if you go to the camera and you go to viewport display, let's see if I remember this, and then go into what's this called? Pass part, pass part alpha. You can mess with this setting here and you can make the surroundings of the camera dark. So then I can really focus. Sometimes this is a little distracting, being able to see everything. So I'm making it all the way dark. You can take it off entirely too, but we'll leave it all the way dark. Now I can really see what I'm doing here. All right. Oh, and also let's take off everything here. And then if you ever want to make this, uh, if you ever want, how do I say this? If you ever want to fill up the screen in these windows, it's the home key. So if I put my mouse over this screen and I want this camera to fill up this whole window, hit home and that fills it up. You see? And home centers my camera here, and hitting home in the shader graph centers my shader nodes. Hitting home in UV centers my UV. See? Home home takes you home, guys. So press home, okay? Great. So let's go. And if you now I'm too far away from my orb, so I'm gonna click on my orb, and then I'm gonna hit the period key next to the enter on the numpad, and now I'm centered. There's something I'm noticing wrong already with this orb, just so you guys know what's going on. If you see this little floating, you see it right here. There's like uh, a little floating dot. That's where the origin is of the active object. So here's the active object selected. There's the origin, right? Usually you want the origin to be in the center of the orb. So see if you hit R to rotate it, it's rotating around that orange dot. And what if I didn't want to rotate it around the dot? I want to rotate it around the center. So make sure to put your origin in the right place. So to put the origin in the center of all your geometry, I don't know if there's an easier way to do this, so please chime in. The way I do it is I go to edit mode. I hit A so I can select all the geometry, and I hit, what is it, Shift S, and I go to cursor to selected. This brings my cursor to the center of all selected polygons. So there it is. You can see it's in the center now, perfectly. Now I get out of edit mode, I go to object, I go to set origin, and I put set origin to 3D cursor. Actually, the other way to do this, that was an extra step, guys. I think I just solved it. Let's go back. So our origin's in the wrong place, right? If you just go to object, I made that way more complicated. If you go to object, go to set origin, and go to origin to center of mass, or center of mass surface or volume, it'll put it in the center for you. I did an extra step there, guys, but those are two ways you can do that. There it is. So we're in the center. We're gonna bring our orb now. Let's go into this here. I want to make the orb a little smaller, and we're going to bring the orb to the left. I'm going to hit GX, and we're going to do it by a certain amount. Let's do GX1 negative. How about 2? So we did 2. All right. So we need another one. We need 5 more, really. So let's just duplicate 5 more. So let's duplicate, grab x point 0.5, or maybe 1. Shift D, duplicate, grab, or G, x1. Shift D, duplicate, G, x1, and duplicate GX1. Oh man, the camera's even the right distance. Ricardo, I'm sorry, but I really have to leave, but I'm going to watch this video in the morning. Thank you so much for everything. Hugs from Portugal to all. Ricardo, yes, you can. I'll leave this video up. You'll be able to watch it afterwards. It's the beauty of YouTube. I hope you have a great or good night. I know it's like 11 now over there, 12. Have a good night, Ricardo. Take care. Thank you for this suggestion. I think it was very good to start off this way. Ease into it for myself. So have a great one. Let me make sure my chat is up, guys. I'm seeing the chat pretty slow. All right. All right. Okay. So thanks for all. Good night, all. Yeah. Good night, Ricardo. All right. So we have our 5 orbs, and we'll look at our picture here. All right. We have 2 of the same ones, a shiny one with a glow in the center, or a glow in the edges, and same one with blue. So this should be easy to do. So let's create the first 2. This one's shinier than the other. All right, so to do this, let's go in. We have the first one already set. All right, the second one, see these are all sharing the same material. So please be sure to change it or add press this button to create a new material, because if you change this to any other color, you can see they all change, and that's not what you want. You want them to all be different. All right, so we have orb 000. Then we're gonna go to the second one and hit this little button here. And just a little tip, see this number 5? This is saying that this material is being used 5 times in your scene. So that's how you know when a material is only has a single user, or one object is using it, or multiple. It's this number right here. Anyway, we're gonna hit the little duplicate or new material, and we're gonna do that for all the objects. Boom, boom. You see how it says 3 now because we're slowly creating individual materials. For our second one, we're gonna make it for our first one, we're gonna make it less rough, so we'll do something more matte. There we go. This one's a little bit more shiny. All right, let's go to the third one. All right, this one. Third one, easy. That's super shiny. So let's go here, and we'll put the roughness down, put the specular up all the way. And I wonder if metallic, no, we'll just do that. There we go. Something that's missing here, right? The reason this doesn't look like this, because it's reflecting the orbs on the left and the right, you see? So what we want to do is we want to add in screen space reflections. Let's see if that's what solves it. We'll go into render properties. We'll go to screen space reflections, and we'll hit and check mark it. And see, they come in. You can barely see it. You see it right there. Barely visible. Turn them off, turn them on. You can see that they come in. Ferd, yes, that is a Fresnel thing. We'll be doing it right now. It's a Fresnel with an emissions. Spoiler alert, Ferd. Spoilers. All right, so we have screen space reflections turned on. I mess with these settings sometimes. Sometimes I don't. I don't know. I usually just leave it the same. Edge fading, clamp, doesn't matter. Just make sure you have screen space reflections turned on, because now this orb is reflecting the one on the side. So let's go. All right. So now for this one, now that we have the screen space reflections on, also let's make sure that this is like white. Make sure this is white. And let's also, I think that's fine. So we got our screen space. We can even see the bottom of the plane here. It's really cool. Okay, so we got our lights. All right, so what now we're gonna duplicate, guys. For it stealing my thunder. So what we're gonna do here, guys, is let's go to the reference. We want to create the edge, right? And the edge has to glow, and that's what we want from this. So let's do that. So we're on the right one. All right, there we go. We're on that right one. So what we want is to be shiny and to glow. So what we're gonna do is we need a something that makes it glow, right? And the thing that makes it glow is in emissions, right? So let's hit Shift A and add an emissions shader under shader emissions. Beautiful. Let's stack them on top, or let's just make this smaller. Look at that big old orb. It's like huge. Okay, so there we go. And then we want to mix. We want to mix the glow, and we'll make it green for right now. We want to mix the glow with the reflective material that it already has. So we'll hit mix shader. We'll put this mix shader at the top. We'll put this other mix shader at the bottom. And now we will go here and connect it. So it's not doing what I wanted to do. I wanted it only on the edges, guys, only on the edges. So to do that, when you see this mix shader, the way that you should think about it is that 0 is the first material, the first row, and 1 is the second material, right? So 0, 1, and then halfway it splits it 50-50. But what I want is for the edges to glow. And to do that, there are special nodes that help tell it where it should put which material. So the what it's called is go to Shift A, go to Input, and there's two of them that you can use, right? There's layer weight that has a Fresnel tag here, and then there is just a Fresnel. And we're gonna see how they differ. I'm not too sure exactly how they differ, but for now, you can actually put the IOR, which is like the IOR, I believe stands for Index of Refraction. So if you've ever seen into like a glass pool and then you see like, or like in your cup when a straw's in it and the straw doesn't look like it's connected because what's happening is that the water is refracting it in a different direction. So it makes it look disconnected. That's what this number is. So let's put this for now at the top here. And you see now we have the edges that glow, right? And you could do the same thing with layer weights here. Layer weight. And I think it's a little different, right? See, for now, you can really set it here by changing the IOR, and you can see I can have the edge glow. Much, much, much easier, right? And then for now, same thing. You can put the blend mode here, and I think there's much more of a transition here, right? So let me show you what this looks like without mixing it, right? So if we just put the Fresnel into an emissions and we put it into the surface, you'll see what this looks like. You see? So when you're looking at the Fresnel, this Fresnel is a texture. And a Fresnel, let's see if we could if maybe it won't get complicated. I don't want to overly complicate this, guys. All these bar graphs and stuff. Just know that the a Fresnel is basically the reflection of light on the edges of objects, curved objects in particular. Man, I should get some like materials to help you guys understand this. I've seen some really good GIFs that really explain it. But just know that a Fresnel is how light is reflected off a curved object, right? So here's a Fresnel, and it's black and white, right? And what the white is saying is it's allowing uh, what the white is saying is that it allows the emissions to go through. And what the black is saying is that it allows the reflection to go through. So the middle is reflection, and the white is um, the emissions. So remember how I told you in this mix shader, the the bar here, when you slide it from zero, zero means the principal shader, the reflection, and one means the emissions shader. So it's the same thing with black and white. So imagine black being zero and white being one. I hope that makes sense. Let me say it in a more like consistent manner. So in the mix shader, zero means the first shader, one means the second shader. Black is zero, white is one. So when you put this texture in here, one, zero is the reflection, and and one, which is white, is the emissions, which is on the outside. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm gonna figure out a better way to explain that, but there it is. That's how we create this, right? So there we go. We have the orb that's glowing there. Very cool. And some different ways that we can also, how do I say, edit, be able to change it. So instead of just changing it with this little bar, like these are your only options, it's not. It's not your only options. You can actually create a color ramp. So what a color ramp is doing, and I'm going to show it to you before. Let's see, color ramp, emissions. So see, this color ramp is basically remapping the black and the white. So you see black and white. You can add in another one. You can put it to be black, put the white in the middle, and you can have more subtleties with how you want to affect your Fresnel here. See, I have like this like little black outer edge there, and that's all being done with this control here. Ferd said I had to gulp my drink for every chart I saw that Fresnel business. Yes, it's basically mathematician stuff. We're artists here. Just know that it has to do with how light is reflected off curves, or how light is reflected, really. So yeah, so you can put a color ramp in between anything and control it better. We're not going to complicate it. We'll just put the Fresnel there. There we go. We'll put it in. We're controlling it. There's our Fresnel. We'll just use the Fresnel one for now, not layer weights. I just wanted to show you that there's two options. So there's our Fresnel. All right, cool. So let's look at our reference now. And our reference, it looks like, so our edge is glowing, which is pretty cool. And I think the white is also being tinted. So this is how we're gonna fix that. We're gonna add in that color ramp, and we're gonna make it so this black is actually more like a gray color. Now this white is being affected by that. Make sure to put your emissions up to make it real bright. There we go. We got our glow going on. All right, so something that you may notice, right, in this glow that we're messing around with here, uh, if you look at the reference, it's glowing on the outside. This is actually in Blender, the Eevee render engine in Blender. This is done as like a post effect. And what a post effect is that it's just added in on top. So it's not really like in the scene. So the way we add it, easy. It's called bloom. Put bloom, and it should have been working. Hold on. There it is. There's our glow. My Saturday evening, drinking and watching Grease Monkey do his thing. Woo! Sounds like a good evening. All right, there we go. So now we got our glow on this one. Look how bright it can get. It can be like just glowing. There we go. We got our green orb there. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so let's just copy the last three, which should be easy. It's just the same thing without the glow. So no emissions and no emissions. Maybe it has like a soft glow. All right. Maybe that's a little bright, guys. But you can see it being reflected off these other orbs. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Shift A. I'm going to copy all these nodes, go into my next orb, select them all, delete, press V, copy that on the same one. We'll make it a red color. Do the same thing. Go on this one, select all, hit X, hit Control V, change the color. What is it? Blue. There we go. Okay. So far we got it all set up here. Very very good. All right, so let's start with now let's start with um let's start figuring out these particle systems. We have all our orbs set up, guys. They're a little more extreme, but you know, we added in our own little flair there. All right. All right. So for that green, let's make it a little less intense. Let's make it less lime green and make it like health green. There it is. All right, health green. Beautiful stuff. All right, so what we need to do now is create a particle system. And the particle system in here, right? What it's using is these two particles, right? So obviously I can make these in Photoshop or GIMP or whatever you want, but I'm just gonna take them from somewhere. So let's go to Pixabay. Pixabay is usually royalty free. What is that? What does that thing look like? A plus and a star? Star symbol. Let's see if we can find them, guys. If you guys can find them before me, but illustration, maybe not the word. The word star is not good. Uh, plus. Is it a plus symbol? Yeah, here it is. I mean, I guess we could use this one, but it has this white that I don't want. I can take it out, but we won't. Let's just let's get a good one from the get-go. This is a good one. All right, so we're gonna download it. I'm gonna download it to uh, my desktop. All right, so we have that. Is there a special word for this symbol here? It's like a star, right? Yeah, they are stylized ASCII symbol like a I swear because the word star is just gonna get me star. An asterisk? That's what it is, guys. I'm spelling it wrong. Asterisk. All right, let's look for that asterisk. You know, I thought there would be some more asterisks. And not only can I make this like the image, I could probably just make them as polygons too, honestly. Maybe I'm overcomplicating this, but we're gonna do this. We'll just do this one. No big deal. Okay. We have our two symbols for this medical one. Uh yeah, my chat sometimes is a little slow. Let me see if I can get my faster chat here. All right, there we go. Okay. So, so now what we want to do is we're going to be making a particle system and we're going to be adding the images of the ones that we just downloaded and we're going to see if we can use them in a way where it imitates this right here. We're going to try and imitate this one and honestly it's going to take a little work. It's going to take a little work to get this. So let's hope I got it in me. We're going to hit save. I'm going to hit image, and we're going to do image as plane, right? So Shift A, this is how we're going to import this image. Image as plane. So mesh. Oh, I just blanked, guys. Image. Go ahead. Start over. Shift A. Images. Images as planes. Go to our desktop. We'll download the symbol. To make sure that we have the correct settings, here's our symbol. Relative path, great. We're going to do an emit. That's how we want the material to be set up. Alpha is uh, I think pre-multiplied is what I use. Let's see. Let's make sure. And hit import plane. There it is. Here is our symbol, which is great. I think that works out really well. But it's black and I don't want it to be that color. So let's go to change. Let's change the color to and to change the color. I think I might use a color ramp. That may work. There's probably a better way to do this. All right, I'm going to copy the same green we have here. So I'm going to go to the material, hit Control C when my mouse is over the color. Go to this material and hit Control V. There, it's the same color. We're going to make it a little smaller and we're going to hit Alt G and I'm going to bring it over. to the right here. So it's just off screen. All right, so there's our plus, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this particle and I'm going to put it into its own collection. Let's call it healing. And we'll call it magic and then underscore healing. Got it. I'm going to right click and we will color it pink just so we can have a pretty outliner here. All right, so let's start with this particle system, guys. We're finally here. We built the entire set of stuff, and now we're going to start working on this. So click on the green one, and let's add a particle system. And now we're going to some murky waters, guys. I don't know what's gonna happen here. So we got orb two for this magical healing sign. I'm just gonna call it a plus sign, just so I can know what it is. Oh, see? Good catch, Ferd. Ferd says you need to apply the scale, and I think I do. Oh, what I need to apply is the scale is good. It's the rotation that I need to apply. So I'm gonna hit Control A, rotation. Now we're at 0, and we're looking pretty good. All right, so let's go to the orb. Let's add in a particle by going to the particle system here, particle properties. Beautiful. Then we'll hit particle properties, we'll hit the plus. And I'm going to call this magical healing because I get really confused when I start making too many particle system. Magical healing. And I'm also going to name it the particle system that too. So not only is it this system, it's also the particle system that we have created here. So let's see what this looks like when we play. And it looks like a bunch of little balls, like spheres coming out. Great. Or not great, actually. So the first thing I don't like is that it's falling down, right? Also, I want to make sure my frame rate is like 30 frames a second. Looks a little choppy. Okay. So the first thing is that my it stops emitting after 200 frames. So let's go to our particle system. Frame start 1. Frame ending, let's do 250. That's how long our scene is. So now it'll emit the whole time. And also they are emitting and falling down. So let's take away the gravity. So under field weights, you'll have gravity here. Just take it all off. So now it's emanating outwards, which is okay. I think they're lasting too long. Let's look at our reference. Our reference, they don't go too far. They don't go too far at all. So we have to make the life lower. So go to particles, change the lifetime. We're gonna have to play with this number, guys. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's 20. A bunch of little balls. I should not have laughed at that. I think I de-aged all the way back to 12 now. Oh, trust me. I uh I held I held back from giggling. All right, so we got these orbs that are floating by. Let's put the lifespan to 10 so they don't go that far. So let's go. There it is. They I think are going pretty well. I think there's too many of them, so let's put it down to 300 for the number. There it is. There you go. Now we got the end date, the end. Lifetime is 10. I think that's a pretty good one there. We have 300. I think that's a good number for now. We can always change it later. For the velocity, let's see how fast it's going in the reference. They look like they're going a little slower. So let's make sure our velocity is slower. So in velocity, you can put it at point 0.5. Let's see if that works. That looks a bit better. That looks a bit better. Yes, we're all 12. All right. So then under, let's see. Under render, I'm gonna make the scale smaller. Oh, it doesn't affect the orbs. Let me make sure we do this. So under render, we're now gonna add in uh I wanna add in the plus sign that I added over here in the right corner. So let's add it by going to render, render as object, and the object we're gonna pick is the plus sign. And look at that plus sign, super tiny. So I'm gonna put object scale off, and I'm gonna put the scale up higher. All right. So what's interesting is that they're coming they're coming out kind of like in the same way, right? But I want to know how I can make it face. I want all the particles to face the camera at all times. So let's see if I can do that. So there's a rotation. If I rotate the camera to the side, yeah, it definitely is not following it. So let's see if there's an option here to allow it to face that side. I think what I have to do though, I think what I have to do is, it almost looks like there's some very slight dampening too. There does. So we have to figure out the dampening. We have to figure out, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we got to figure out the rotation stuff. We got to figure out, we need it to face the camera at all times, number one. And then we need to figure out the dampening that it seems to be having, because I definitely see that, like you said. And then we need to figure out it getting big and then it getting small. I'm wondering how they pulled that off. So I have an idea for how to make maybe it face. We're gonna zoom up on this one. I wish they still retained the billboard particle option. That was the way I used to do it, with the billboard particle option. But they definitely do not have that anymore. So let's see if I can just do this. What if I select the object, uh, and I put a constraint on it, and then the particles inherit that inherit that constraint. So the constraint here would be this little icon here. Every time I look at this icon, I think it's like a log, a piece of wood, but it's really just two gears together. So it's a constraint. So let's do uh uh track 2, right? And we wanted to track to the camera. And we're looking at it here. You see it's not facing the camera. So we have to do play with these buttons. I forget which way it is. There it is. So now if we look at it, let's see if we'll move the camera, see if it, you see, now it's always facing me, no matter what. It's always facing the camera. So let's see if that transfers over to our particles. It does not. It does not. Hmm. So just know that these constraints don't transfer over to particles. I wonder how he got it to face the camera at all times, unless it's not, and he's just letting you view it from one side. Let's see. So I'll just put it this way for now, just so it looks like the system we're going. And let's see if we can Google it really quick. Let's see, guys. Particles, a Blender particle system, face camera, particle face camera. So it looks like I'm gonna show you guys what I'm looking at here. Create an empty that you parent to your object, but place it way behind on the z-axis. This will use as a log particle source for orientation of the object. Oh, see, yeah, they're doing it here. Seems like a janky way to do this. It should just be like put in there. Place the source. Oh, it is the way that I'm doing it. I think you're right. You said place it in the orb. Let's try that. So let's hit Control G. We'll bring it up. It's in the center, right? Great. Um, and let's put the plus sign. Let's put that constraint back. Track 2, camera. Let's look at it again. No, it's definitely not working here. Am I missing something here? Let's look. Place the source particle somewhere in the middle of where most of the particles will be. Add a track 2 constraint. Add a track 2 constraint to the source particle object. Use an empty behind as a target. Limit the rotation. Oh, I see what it's doing. Okay. Uh, okay. So we're gonna do this janky way and see if how well it works. So let's bring back our relationships lines here. I'm gonna move the cursor to the camera because I'm gonna make uh, I want to make a null and I want it to be right in line with the camera. So a null, an empty, Wesley, an empty. I always call it a null because I use so much After Effects. So let's go make an empty, and I'm gonna make an empty sphere, and I'm gonna maybe make it smaller, and then bring it back, back here. Maybe 1, 2, nope, 2, -2, -3, -4. Okay. So I have these object at empty, and I'm gonna say it's magical healing empty. Great. Magical healing empty. And this thing is going to be parented. The thing is going to be parented to the camera. So Control P, right? So if I look at the camera, it is parented there. So then when I rotate this camera, it rotates the empty. Okay, okay, okay. We're getting there. And then we're going to, maybe I'm doing this wrong still. Then we're going to get the plus sign. And is it a damp track? What is this? Damp. Track to this object, world space, yeah. And then limit. Okay, so let's see. So we're gonna track to magical empty world space, right? And we're not gonna, I guess we'll limit it then. And then we'll do a limit rotation, just how it did it here, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then we'll follow it. Okay, so let's see if this works. So we're playing it. Yo, why isn't this working? All right. And I think the particle system has a setting here so I can keep the rotation, object rotation. There we go. All right. Would it affect it at all if this object's far away? Let's see what that looks like. It does. So, I think QS is correct, where the object particle kind of has to be where it's being emitted from, right? So let's center this up again. Let's fix our camera. We had it at 90, 0, 0. We had the X0, the Z here. Maybe we get in a little closer. Um, Cursor to selected, and I'm going to move it, cursor, selection to cursor. Good. And now when I move the camera around, yeah, this is kind of a weird way of doing this, guys. There we go. Now when the camera moves around, it'll always face the camera. Okay, great. So, through some janky methods, we have made it so the particle is always facing the camera. So there we go, particle facing the camera. Now the next thing I want to do is go to our particle sign and let's do some editing on it. Go. Yo, I can make these things glow. Look at that. That looks actually pretty cool. Bam! They're like glowing. That's some stuff right there. Okay. So let's make them glow a little bit. I like the glow. Um, so that's going good there. Okay. Now the next thing I want to figure out is that let's look at our reference. Some of these are bigger than others. Well, they all kind of grow to the same size actually. Never mind. Okay. Let's see if we can add some variation here to the particles under random scale. Maybe just a little bit, just so some look bigger than the other. All right. So now, guys, this is already looking kind of all right. It doesn't look good that they just disappear, like they just blank out. So I need to figure out a way to affect the size of its lifetime. So let's see if good old Google's gonna help here. We'll do it together. Blender. Of course, the Stack Exchange is what comes up the most. All right, it looks like there is definitely a way to do this. And I'm just looking at the material here. It's the first time me doing this, so I don't even know. In properties, particles, textures, add new, give it a name. The properties, textures, type, choose blend, textures, colors, pick ramp, properties, textures, mapping coordinates. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick skim over this video. Check this guy out. Blender Shorts test. S- Oop. Yo, this is a what blender is this? It's an older blender. Wait, is he using like? Ah, yes, the good old divide age and time. Does that work in Eevee? We'll have to see. All right, let's see if we could do the size thing. All right. QS said, I decided to try sculpting in Blender for the first time for some reason, basically after I started your stream. Do you mind if I DM what I end up after your stream? Yeah, definitely send it over. You can send it through Discord if you're on Spitfire's storyboard. I should be on there. You could DM me through Discord. Most definitely. All right, guys. I'm still trying to figure out this particle system here. So we're in the particle system under textures, right? That's what it says. All right, it says to go to textures, create a new texture. We'll call it size, magical, healing, size. First says, you ever check out Blender Secrets? Yes, Skills actually told me about that guy. He does like such good work. Something to aspire to. Anything in particular though? All right, we're gonna make this texture. It says here to make it, choose blend, then go to colors, choose ramp. Yeah, let's see. Just a little detour here, guys. For anybody watching out there or watching later, Blender Secrets. Very good stuff. Check it out. You can get his ebook. 100 pages PDF. Excellent. Blender goodness. Not sponsored, just appreciative. Yes, check it out. Lots to learn. Look at all this. Look at all this fun stuff. It makes you feel like you're in the know. Not sponsored, by the way. Just gotta support the blend communes, the blend community. You can use that same texture control to have the particles fade off. Okay, Ferd, I've never done this side. I've never gotten to this part of the particle system. I've been thinking that this particle system sucks for so long. So color ramp, right? Colors, and under texture mapping coordinates, choose particle, right? Or strand particles. Okay, okay, we're getting there. Then under textures, influence unclick time and enable size. Okay, okay, influences. Oh, this is amazing. This is something in the particle system that I have not ever touched, ever. I've been so upset with the particle system and I just have not been thinking. And then in the properties textures, the colors, play with the color ramp to increase and decrease the size matter. Okay, so here we go. So let's look at it. All right. So it looks like they're going from big to small in size, right? So let's place with some of this. Look how big, how fast they flicker on. Let's take out some of this stuff. All right. This is very cool. Very cool. Is there any way I could do a custom one? Oh, this is so cool. I've been trying to figure out to do something like this for so long. All it took was a Google search, some little elbow grease, a little bit of Blender secrets, and look at us. Because what I would like, right, from what it looks like to me is that it starts out black, which starts out small. And also, let me change one thing here in the particle system. Under render size, we're gonna put all the same size. Okay. I found the tree texture in particles this week too. Oh man, we're all learning here, guys. Is there any way, can I edit this texture like in a texture editor here? Is there a way to edit this? Because I would love to be able to edit this texture. Come on. Because what I want, so what I'm looking for now, right, is I'm looking for the gradient to go from dark to light to dark again, because that's what the sample's showing me, right? It looks like it goes from small to big and then back to small, right? Interesting. Is it spherical? There it is. It's spherical, guys. It's spherical. So that's how you're getting the up and down so quickly, right? So let's go to particles. But I wish I can edit this. I feel like I'm missing some editability here. Because under my particle system, if I go under render and bring up the size, oh, they get so big. Oh, so let's go. I'm gonna go to Susan says go into the texture tab. Doing that now. So let's go into the texture tab. There we go. Edit in texture tab. Am I missing a texture tab? Susan, am I just going crazy? Are you talking about like the texture node editor? Is this it? Oh, I think you're right. Okay, so this is where I edit it. So let's go to texture. Let's figure out. I think we're getting closer. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I think we're getting closer. I think we're getting closer. This looks ridiculous. So I'm editing this texture, but I just don't like that I can't see what the texture looks like here. All right, let's see. Let's bring this to white. Bring these to black. I guess I just don't understand why they go from from small to big, and then they start flickering a bunch, and I just don't get that. Look, it's like and they flicker a bunch. All right, but I think we're getting close. I think we're like, I don't know, 80% there. We got the particles orienting in the same way. We got the we're figuring out where to make this work. Could I just do this without anything? I love the it looks like fireworks. You can make some neat firework effect. All right. All right, we're gonna chill out, to pay attention. Here we go. Think I'm getting hyped up here. But we're getting closer, guys. Getting closer. All right, so I can see I can get the texture, I can get a blend, I can get the sphere. Let's go linear. That I think I got it. I think I got it. There we go. Okay, guys. Okay. So basically, let's see if I can explain what I'm doing now, huh? Off the cuff. T- some teachery moment here. Okay, so basically how this works, now that I've kind of figured it out, in the particle system, if you go to textures, you make a new texture and you can use that texture to affect different things of the particle system. This is totally new to me, and this is awesome. This is something that probably has existed the whole time, and I just have not been paying attention. If you make the texture, you go look at it, and the way that you can see is if you go to blend, and then under this blend, you change the mapping to strand particles because that's what you want it to affect, nothing else, which are the particles. And under color ramp, and then you put color ramp, which is like dark to white. Great. So then the other thing was, let's see. Oh, and then yeah, and under the influence, you make sure it influences the size. And you can influence so many things. You can influence the lifetime, the density. For it's like it has existed quite a while. Grease Monkey, you are so behind. So okay, so it's existed for quite a while, guys. I just didn't know how to use the particle system. I was lacking. I'm so happy I did this stream today because it has opened up a whole new world for me. Because there's so much power right now that I have at my fingertips that I didn't even know I had. Ferdinand says use different textures to affect things like timing, fades, scales, or even amounts. It's amazing. So amazing. I have been ignorant to this for far too long. So yeah, and then basically all I'm doing is using a blend, putting a color ramp on it, and making it so the white in the middle and then there's dark at the edges. So it goes from small to big, or small to big to small again. Then I can go into this particle system again. I can make the size a little smaller. Um, I can probably make these particle signs. Uh, not as strong. There we go. And there we go. I think we covered most of the methods that you would need to create these particle systems. So let's see. Ours is really fast. Let's see if we can make ours much slower. Now, is there a place to randomize the texture sizing? You mean like the plus sign? Yeah, it should be right here. So now we got random sizes. I just need this to last. I think the timing is a little bit off. So let's see if the lifespan 20 is better. But we also put the velocity down to 0.2. There it is. There it is. Oh man, that's okay. Okay. All right, so let's do a little quick test run here. Excuse me. Look at that. Now we have the particles. They are getting big. They are getting small. They are always looking at the camera. They are going at a correct distance, a correct time. They are glowing. They have green. They have orbs. We've made the background. We've randomized the size. So then all you would have to do, right, at this point, let's look at our reference one more time. So if you look at our reference here, it has two particles going on, right? So it has the plus and the star. In the particle system, let's see. Yes, Susan. Susan says, you look happy you learned something. Yes. It's been a while since uh I missed something under the Blender hood. I know there's tons I haven't learned, but there's all that tons that I haven't learned is tons that I'm still privy of. Like I know it exists. This whole particle system thing is like the first time me trying it or really understanding that it even exists. This makes, I'm telling you, I thought the particle system was absolute like like bad garbage for Blender. But no, this makes it usable now. This makes it very usable and very, obviously other particle systems have a lot of work in them, so they have a lot more features, but this added features that I'm like, oh, that I thought didn't exist. So I'm very happy, Susan. Super. Oh, cool. I'll have to review the stream after. I missed how you got the billboarding to work. Yeah, review the stream, but basically what needs to happen is the plus sign here needs to have a constraint, and it has to have a track to constraint and a limit rotation constraint. Just put on 0 here. Boom boom. Put the correct things here, and the thing that it's targeting is I put an empty behind the camera, right? And the camera, it's parented to the camera, right? So you rotate here, you see, parented to the camera, and uh, the particle is always going to look at this empty here, right? So there it is. And then where the particle has to exist in the same location as the thing that's emitting it for it to like look proper. So that's where I just put it back in the center here, and then that's how it works. And then that that's how it keeps it going. There we go. Yes. It's working. There you go. We got that cool particle effect. Anyway, so in our example or in our reference here, we're seeing that it has another object in there. So what you would do here is you would go to the particle system if you wanted to have multiple objects. Maybe I'll just do it now. If it's not that hard, I'll just do it now. So it's instancing one thing right now. It's the plus signs, right? But let's say if I wanted to, let's say I wanted it to do two different colors, right? So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'll do. I'm going to do plus sign. I'm going to name it dot zero zero zero. Uh, and just so we see what we're doing, I'm going to bring it up here. All right. So there's our plus, and we'll call this plus sign dot zero zero zero. And then we're going to duplicate this particle. So here it is. Now we have two. And then we're also going to duplicate the material. So we'll duplicate it here with this little button here. So we got two of them here, right? So for the second one, let's change it into a different hue of green. Let's change it to like something noticeable, right? Just because we need to see it. Maybe yellow, right? Great. So now I'm going to put the particles back in the center where it's being emitted, right? So since our cursor is in the middle, I could just hit Shift S, selection to cursor, and this like that, selection to cursor. Great. Now in our particle system, you see that I have it instanced objects, and the object right now is just plus 000, but you can actually do a collection, right? Because we wanted to do both of these, and it's in the Magic Healing collection. So let's do that by going to Object, and instead render as, and instead of selecting Object, we're going to do Collection. So it's going to duplicate collections instead of objects. So we'll do collections, and then we'll do the Magic Healing collection. There we go. And now, unfortunately, the empty's in there, so I'm gonna get the empty out of there and move it into its own thing. Let's move it to utility. There it is. There we go. And now we have the yellow particle and the green particle coming out big to small, being controlled by the particle textures and everything here. We did it. We got it. Did it together, guys. We could change the plus sign. You can see we could do the different colors, it could be pink, blue, red. But there you go. We got it. So this could be any particle too. This can just be something else. Like we can rotate this, right? Let's see if we can actually rotate it. Yeah, we can make them come out as X's if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that. But there you go. We got our two different particles. Our particle system is doing that, or sorry, I shouldn't say that. Our particle system is rendering a collection. The collection has the two plus signs, yellow and green, coming out of the center, and it follows the camera perfectly. And I think this technique, you see, it follows it. So nice. So nice. All right. So just for the 7 viewers out there watching, this this same this whole thing that I did in this entire stream can be replicated for each of these effects, right? So I did the plus or the healing one just for you to see, but the same technique is being used for the fire. It's using these two orbs, which you would put into the collections. The same is being used for the ice one, just in these two collections, also put into the collections, and just some different particle strength and emissions and stuff, but it's all the same technique. So that's pretty much it, guys. Like, if you just get some of these orbs as images, make it face the camera, that's pretty much it. We got it. Can you vary the seed on the second item in the collection for a slight variance? Third, I don't know if you already know the question, the answer to the question, but that's an excellent question for the class. That's excellent. So let's go. What he's asking is, what if we wanted more of the the yellow one to appear, or less of the yellow, or more of the green, etc., etc., etc. So let's go to the particle system itself. There we go, particle system. Under render, where it renders as collections, you have, all the settings here. So you can make it so this instance collections, you have all the control here. You can do the whole collection. So if you do whole collection, it'll render both the yellow and the green at the same time. We don't want that. We could do pick random and object scale. Yeah. We could do use count. There it is. There it is. So under use count, we can then select the amount that we want. So one of each, or for the first one, if we want mostly green, let's see if that works. Yeah, so now look, it's mostly green, and occasionally we'll get our yellow. Let's actually make the yellow very extreme. So let's make it a different color. Let's make it like pink. Okay. So now in the particle system, if you use count, you can select the ratios. So now we have 30 green and one pink, and you can see that only one comes out occasionally. If we put it 1 to 1, you'll see that it'll be an even amount. Ferd says, pick random seems to do the trick. Yes, we could do pick random. Let's see what it says for the tooltip. Pick objects from collections randomly. Yes, this is what we want. And then you can select the ratios with use counts. Like, what if I wanted all pink and occasionally green, right? You would put the second one, which is the pink one, put it to 30. Now we play it. Now we have mostly pink, and occasionally we'll get that green one. There it is, green one there, green one there. And then we can really hone in. And if you have a bunch of different objects in here, you can really hone in on the ratios for the particle systems on this. But we'll just keep it 1 to 1, and there we go. All right, guys. All right, to review, I think I'm gonna start winding down here. I haven't eaten. Still in my process of my move, but man, did I learn some stuff today. Oh, did we learn some stuff today. Like, if you watch the whole stream, it's only 2 hours and 30 minutes. But we go through this whole process of making this. So just to recap here, uh, what we were doing is, let me see if I can get this. Bum, 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 bum. I'm gonna do a recap just so I can make sure I cover everything. Then I'll ask, then we'll go for a round of questions, and maybe we'll wind down with some chit chatting. But we're almost done here. I'm almost done here, I should say. Okay, so let's do a recap here. Fred says, but won't the seed vary the location of the particle emissions? Hmm. But won't the seed vary the locations of the particle emissions? Ferd, you said, Grease Monkey, I'm glad you made it safe. I hope you guys get set up in good time. Really happy to see you back. Really happy to be here. So quick recap before we go. I just want to end it here. We had Ricardo, who was part of the Discord, who went in to the Blender Effects link and posted this link here to show me these effects. I want to create a new segment called Monkey See, Monkey Do. This is kind of like a test run for it, and I think it went pretty successful. Basically he suggested, oh, look at these effects. Do you think we can make them in Blender, or how would you make them in Blender? And I went through that. So just to see them, these effects are just particle systems made by Mohammed Kahin, who's a very good Blender artist. And it's just a little particle system where it's using images to radiate out these effects. You can see above he put the particles that they are. Very good demonstration and showing what Blender what's actually happening. So here it's only using two particles, four particles is using like five. I think this is like five here. And we basically use that method to build the same thing that he made using particle systems and fading in and fading out. And that system for all the other effects, same thing. You could do it for all of these. You just vary up the different settings of the particle systems and the images that you use. I showed you how to do the orbs and how to do the glow around, the settings that you should have like bloom and screen space reflections. But yeah, that's it, guys. I think Ricardo's not here, but he's going to be watching this afterwards. Ricardo, thank you for the question and thank you for putting it on the Discord. I appreciate it. For anybody not on the Discord, for the 7 people watching out there, if you guys have not joined the Discord, please do. I'm gonna post it on here on the chat. You see my windows here. There we go. Please join the Discord. If you guys are watching, you can ask me questions. You can ask anybody questions there, and we can all learn together. Um, so I'm gonna be doing this segment. If, please post effects or anything that you see on there, and maybe I will make a monkey see, monkey do segment for that, so we can learn it together. I appreciate all you guys for joining me. This was a great stream for me, at least. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, because I did some learning today. I learned something new. We did it. So Ricardo, thank you. He's the one who did the question. Hopefully this answers your question on how it's made. There you go. Jaraj. Oh, and if anybody has any questions, now is the time. I'm going to spend these next 15 minutes winding down. Please ask any questions related to this or not related to this, or we could just chit chat for whatever you want for the next 10 minutes. Please ask your questions. Jiraj says, "Hello, sorry for the caps. I controlled my robot, my stream robot today, my moderator. He shouldn't be bothering us about caps anymore. Sorry for the caps. Just came to say hi. I guess I came in right at the end. Yes, you are right at the very end. We just solved this whole particle effect thing where it includes like, the particles looking at the camera, the different variations of the particles, the colors. It's pretty great. Good old particle system. Hope you had a great time. I did. Shader looks great. Highford. Yes. Oh man. So good. So good, guys, to solve something. I have like the ultimate dopamine hit right now because of how much I figured out with you guys. It took some Googling though. Took some Googling, took some stuff, but we done it. We done it. Blender Grease Monkey, would a Discord chit chat thing be something to consider for casual Q&A chit chats? Yes. You know what? For everybody, my OG, my original viewers here always have the greatest ideas. Ferd, Jaraj, Susan, Mr. Colin. Anyway, yes, Ferd. I think that's a great idea. I have to figure out when a good time it would be for everybody. I have to, as I get settled out here in Massachusetts, I'm going to figure out my segment, Monkey See, Monkey Do, so I could do it more often. Maybe even make it into video instead of live stream. And then hopefully get people on the Discord and then do a Q&A. I just got to figure out when to advertise it and when to do it and the best time for everybody. Because it would be fun just to try and, read the chat and figure out some questions that people have on Blender. I know Blender could be like so like blah, so I would love to answer any of those questions. Dash the Dark Gamer. Good to see you. You caught the end of the stream here. Do you have any Blender questions? A OG title acquired, achievement unlocked. Yes. Dash, thanks for joining. Just did 2 hours and a half doing some particle effects. Definitely check out this live stream and watch it through to learn some stuff. Yes, medals up, down, everywhere. We got all the gold medals. Number one, number two, we got the blue ribbon. We got participation trophies. Oh man. See if I can get some warm light in here. Ooh, blue light, warm light. There it is. I learned basic stuff in Blender. I want to know more. Well, there is plenty to learn. Plenty to learn, Dash. Ah, yes. You've come for effects. Well, Dash, join the Discord. Let's see if I can get it here. Shots fired. That's funny. Oh, shot finished. Nice. 49 shots to go. How is your project going, Jiraj? How is it? I know you were having a lot of trouble with it. But yeah, Dash, join the Discord. I do these streams every Saturday at the same time, which is 5:30 Eastern or 2:30 Pacific. I don't know what time zone you're in, but definitely join the Discord. You'll see when I'm going to be streaming. You can ask questions there if you need to learn any small nuance thing. It's a good Discord, a lot of great people on there. Uh, it's a great community. So if you want to learn some more, definitely check out there. We're always posting links too for uh different effects and different anything Blender related, really. Okay, Sa M313. Can we use Blender particle systems in other game engines? So, uh, I have not messed with game engines like Unity and Unreal too often. I would definitely see if there's an add-on that maybe converts it. From my understanding, which once again I learned a lot today, and I've been doing this for a long time. From my understanding, the particles don't just easily translate over, but let's see. Let's do some Google in here. Blender, and maybe Ferd may know this. Ferd, if there's Unity particle transfer, let's see. Blender, Unity to Blender. Okay, I see. So what you could do is you can bake the particles, and that's a whole process in itself. Okay, that's pretty old. So from my understanding, Sam, Saham, Sam. Okay. So yeah, from my understanding, Sam, no, you cannot. Did some light Googling and checked, and it doesn't look like it. Jiraj, well, I had to break for like 2 weeks yesterday. I calculated that I needed to do 3 shots a day if I want to finish rough animation till the end of the month. So kinda hectic. Well, at least you had some time off. At least you had some time off, Jiraj. You're doing the school project. Is it the same project? Dash, Dark Gamer. I haven't used Blender in a long time. Might as well open it up and make something. Yeah, go in there, have some fun. Dive in. There's lots to do. Phew. I sent you a shot I just finished if you want to check it out on the Discord. Nice. Shot's pretty good. First, like, can I see it too? Yep, still the same old project. Jiraj, can I, I know it's your like project. I don't know. I'm not gonna put it up. I was gonna ask if I could put it on the stream. But I remember talking to you about them being like really strict about the protection of the projects in the schools. So it looks pretty good, Jiraj. Looks pretty good, honestly. Your improvement is so good. When I finish this project, I can dive on the project for my masters. That's freaking awesome. For definitely. All right, let's see. I mean, if you well, I don't want to get you in trouble, man. So I'll put it on for a short period here. All right, so this is what Jiraj is working on. See if you can see that on the stream. We're gonna play it. Look at that. He's like a little fly man. A little fly man is unloading. Let's see if I can make it bigger. It's a little fly man and he's unloading his backpack and jumping off. It's looking pretty good. Dash Dark Gamer. Do you know how to make rain? Dash Dash the Dark Gamer. Boy, have you asked the right person for that. Because I recently made a rain I recently made a rain asset that you can download. I'm gonna post a link to the video. Let's see. Boy, did you ask the right person. Because I do. The answer is I do. All right, let me get that video for you here. All right, D dash. Sorry about that. All right, D dash. D dash. D Dash, check out this video that has the rain asset I created that you can use. Right now, it still needs a little work. It's version 1.0. I'm still trying to figure out how to make it. Well, I'm still trying to figure out, and I'm trying to um, yeah, I'm trying to make the water droplets sync up with the water splashes. But right now, it works pretty well. It's made with textures and an array and some particles. So that's where I'll start with the assets. And maybe one day I'll go through and I can show how it's made, but it's basically particle systems and textures that I'm using. I think he meant like magic, like rain ritual. Oh, how to summon the rain. Make the rain fall. But yeah, D Dash, check out the video. Let me know if that works for you or what your needs are, you know? All right, guys. Think I'm winding down now. Last round of questions, last round of thoughts, last thoughts of critiques. Forever hold your peace. Just say it right now in the chat. I'm listening. I'm ready. Guys, a quick question. Jiraj says, how long do you think half a cup of coffee at at 1 or at midnight is going to keep me awake? Well, it depends on how long you slept and how much coffee you're drinking. So that's 1 cup, and how your metabolism is, and then how much you know, like how big you are, and um 2 hours would be my guess. But you yeah, 2 hours, right? 2 hours, put a light on, get that cup of coffee. You gotta drink those energy drinks. All right, guys. I made 1 cut. Am waiting for Blender to unfreeze. All right, guys. This is it. Take care. I hope you guys have had a great day. I hope you had a great time. QS, D Dash, Jarash, Ferd, Susan, Modern Colin. What's it? What was his name? I want to get his name right. Ricardo, especially for asking the question. Eric M. Mostly Colin. QS, I think I said QS already. Susan, Ferd, Jiraj, I'll just say it a second round. Thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys have a great night. Let me fade into my my outro here. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You guys are great. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Have a great everything. Thank you heaps, Susan, for being here the Saturdays and watching and learning together. I appreciate every one of you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night, guys. Thank you. Take care. Good night. Okay, I'm done being silly. See you guys.